He bought groceries after they said goodbye. He woke the next morning with an ache in his neck and a sore throat. He bought groceries after they said goodbye. It was raining. He heard the rain before he saw it. It was a morning that rained among others that didn't, the English spring. The next morning was worse. Unable to turn his neck, he lay in bed shivering. It was no colder outside, but he shivered all the same. The rain stopped. Submerging himself under the covers, he thought it was strange timing, his sickness, and her departure. He bought groceries after they said goodbye. One duck chases the other in the water before me, echoing across the space I sit in, bouncing off the trees whose shade I steal and bouncing off them again like a slash in a record, repeating the same grooves in the vinyl, repeating the same melody again and again. The frantic quacks reach my ears. The swan's children are grey. They sleep on the path, on the trodden trail of beaten grass, splitting and separating the hairy neighbouring weeds. They sleep under her watchful eye. Another beaten path bends and curves around an overgrown tree. This is the path I take. I am diverted from the swan's nest and end up on the opposite side of the feathered floor. I watch two dragonflies lie past me, one on top of the other, pretending to be one huge bug or beetle, arched in such a way that their combined bodies look like a floating scorpion about to strike. I'm reminded that dragonflies only live for 3 months. I think that these dragonflies I watch, and those that will come after, those whose conception I have just witnessed, will be long gone once the year is done. As casually as they slept on the path I traversed, they beautifully dipped their fuzzy heads into the cool wet bath, as though nothing on earth could bother them. Men of old cast their rods into the deep in the hope of procuring life. All of them are old, and all of them are men. Wild deer guard this land. They roam free and mingle with the people as the flies mingle with the birds. In a space where I sit now, on a ledge under a drooping tree, a shit-ridden ledge so graciously decorated by those so graciously free deer, on a spot so apparently free of shit, I watch a man by the water cast out his line. His bike and his bag lean behind him on an aging trunk, and behind his bike and his bag and behind his tree, a young buck gently watches. The wind carries its coldness harshly in its grasp, and so my arms, once bare, now find sanctity in the warm patterned sleeves of my shirt. A brown duck plucks grass from my side. It edges closer, seeking either my friendship or the grass I sit on. 4 smaller and younger ducks sleep under the ledge by the pond. They hide their faces under their wings, as do I with my arms, and the wind keeps on. The buck stands by the man, his loyal companion, like a dog, and observes his movement and his age. He wonders why he hunts for fish, why he throws them back, and what this brings him. To play God at an age so powerless, the deer turns and leaves. Its caramel fur melts into the surrounding yellows and greens, its delicate face absent from the pond. I lay on my bed, on my stomach. My spine curves inwards as my hips sink into the mattress. I am concave. A day of rest turns to restlessness so easily. I put on my shirt and walk out the door. It feels like rain is coming. The door opens and, on the road ahead, staring into me, is a skinny orange fox. It was waiting as though planned, as though we were old friends, as though, being busy businessmen, a meeting was arranged. And at this meeting, to the left of my distinguished guest, a quaint woolen cat, its associate, is napping. How comfortable this road must be. I take a route I have never taken before. It feels like one of those nights. The clouds linger curiously above my spontaneity. I squeeze down a narrow lane and find that I have discovered a shortcut previously ambiguous and unknown. It takes me to the river. I perch on a bench and watch the boats as the sky fades from blue to grey. Shy lines of orange strive for attention under the fluffy ceiling, a fox on the silvery road. The boats I watch do not sail. They sit and they bob up and down, waiting for something to happen. They bob and they wait to set sail. They bob and they wait for their captain, or for a loud gust of wind, to break them away from the sunken noose that binds them so closely to the shore. People walk past me left and right. I wait for someone to stop, but no one does, and the boats bob on. I leave. It's chilly now. This is the first time I felt cold in many weeks, or many months. A family skims stones on the water, and I walk past a trolley dressed in the mould of seaweed and grime, painted with the scars of being rescued from its deep grave. I like it here. Noise is eaten by space, it doesn't echo, each sound passes as it comes. The parked car I passed on my way here is no longer there. The shortcut I took is less narrow now than it was before. I look up at a block of apartments, rooms shining like stars against the abyss, and wonder how much more expensive it is to live on the top floor than at the bottom. Small and childish, one tiny white creature excitedly carries itself towards me. It spins in a circle before nuzzling its round face under my knee. I'm cross-legged sitting on the ruins of a used park. It rubs its head along my leg and I can't help but smile and stroke its transparent fur. Having gotten what it wanted, the little animal shoots away. One lady, having been deeply frustrated by her wild pet's reluctance to conform, carries her golden toy under her arm like a football. The soil here is dotted with deep holes. A carnival has been and gone, and patches of grass stain the field, yellowing squares neighbouring buzzcut greens separated by waving lines. The carnival has been and gone. Each new dog that enters gets smaller and smaller, and with each new owner I feel more and more disdain. How cruel and embarrassing it is to be shrunken down and paraded, dumbed down and dragged around like an accessory, as if we've forgotten the wolves from which they descended. I look up and gaze at the line of trees bordering the park. All I see is the great uninterrupted distance between my eyes and what they land on. Horizons split us in two and she sits at the end like a sunset, like a dip in the night. If I could pull her horizon towards me, then with the break of every bone and the bleeding of my hands I would. The grey streets bend as I walk, turning and meeting at the same angle again and again. How long have I been walking? Her breath warms my neck, her gait matches mine, I know her presence so well. I hear her footsteps behind me, I hear her calls rustling in the trees, running like the hand of a clock, running like a game of cat and mouse, weaving through time like a thread, trying to look at the pattern behind, but always being on the wrong side of the fabric. A blind seamstress. A face I know so well, how familiar it is to my lips and the tips of my fingers. Sometimes I whisper in the wind and hope that the gust carries my words to her. But it's hard. So very hard to differentiate the spectre of me from the howling storm.